What it do, boo-boos? How are you? I'm good. I just got in from work a few minutes ago. It was a good night. Nothing too crazy going down. Just a pretty smooth evening. I did get sat with 4 tables at the same time, and which is quadruple set. And it could have been worse. The only mistake I made during that fiasco was I rang in the wrong steak. But it was the right temperature and everything. It was just the wrong steak. And the guy ended up eating it, and we bought it, and so it was no big deal. So that was the biggest upset of the whole night. It was just like, all the planets seem to be going direct suddenly. Everything's suddenly gotten a lot easier. It's like, what do we do with all of this extra bandwidth? It's like we're gonna have a surge of productivity coming up, I think. Lots of action and like a surge and good luck and activity and opportunity. I can feel it. Okay, well, we're here tonight for our Saturday night segment, Secret Teachings of Jesus, where we do our Saturday night secret sermons. And basically, I just wanted to read the Nag Hammadi scriptures and the Dead Sea Scrolls and a bunch of the Gnostic Gospels, and I just didn't know when I would have time. So I thought I would make it a weekly segment, or we could do this together. So I will read you a portion, and then we will unpack it line by line. And yeah, I'm not a theologian or anything. I'm just giving you my channeled impressions as I'm getting the downloads in the moment. And I've really just read this like right before I pressed record, so I'm not an expert, but when we've been checking the introductions to the chapters, it seems that like I've been on track, so I guess we're picking up on this. Okay, you guys, well, right now, tonight, we are going to be looking at the Gospel of Philip. If you look at my Secret Teachings of Jesus playlist, you can go back. We've been on the Gospel of Philip for a while, which it's these like short like portions of this like cryptic text, and it just sort of like prompts the mind for like a mental yoga just to like chew on these concepts. But before this, we'd been in the secret book of James as in Jesus's brother, and it was more like a narrative, like conversations and stuff playing out, and there was more character development, which was really fun. But now we've been in the Gospel of Philip for a while, and I don't know, I'm like, should we just finish the Gospel of Philip? There's still a lot of portions. I'm kind of like feeling like jumping around a little bit, so you guys let me know what you think. I'll probably just still do whatever I feel like. Okay, cool. A couple of notes. So the Hebrew Kabbalists like to study in the midnight hour, and we are in the midnight hour now. And there are some secrets to that. The midnight hour is the most positive hour of the day as far as the energy goes, because it's the fresh, new beginning energy. Starting the new day. And so it starts off like totally, full on positive. And then as our willpower gets lower through the day, it's like the day becomes more challenging. So that's that. Midnight is also a powerful time, magically speaking and spiritually speaking. It's a liminal space between the end of one thing and the beginning of another. So the veil is very thin during this time of night. And we're surrounded by what's called surrounding light. And it's this light of protection. And basically, there's another benefit to studying this light is when you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and you're breaking the flesh in the spirit of Eucharist, you're actually revealing even more light with your study, especially if you're doing it in the spirit of sharing, and not just for the sake of like instant gratification or to receive for the self alone. So it means that you will get even deeper insight, right? Or the passage will have a very positive effect on you. Or, many times as spiritual students, when we're learning concepts, it's like we have to kind of walk them out and live them out in our life to embody and integrate those lessons. And so sometimes it can be kind of chaotic. So surrounding light and doing this at midnight, that protection kind of helps us ground the lesson without having to live through any chaos, right? To embody that. And it's not to say that when we study spirituality that we're definitely going to have to be going through chaos. I mean, we're all creating our own chaos constantly, all the time. It's just that when we start studying, we start engaging by our own free will in spiritual evolution, like we must be challenged to do that. So the challenges come in order to help us evolve. But the faster you catch on to the lessons, the shorter the gap is. Like the gap is closed between time and space, right? Of getting what you want or what your desire is, or the fulfillment, and the not having of it. That gap is closed or short or shrunk. Let's just put it that way. What causes chaos and suffering, one of the things is time and space. And so it's like you have an idea in your mind or like a desire in your heart that you want manifested, you want to have come about. And you feel like you don't have that thing in your mind, your consciousness, you're separate from it. And so you're feeling suffering, you're feeling longing, you're feeling this like longing desire, and it's like this itch that won't be satisfied until you get the thing, or at least you don't think so in your mind. Because at this point you think that it's the thing that's going to give you the fulfillment. So there is a process of getting that thing or having that thing made manifest, and we have to go through time and space to get that thing. And so the faster we learn these lessons in life, the shorter, like the sooner the lesson can be over, and the faster that the challenge can wrap itself up or be resolved, right? But it's like when we're not getting the lesson, it's like we have to keep going through these like difficulties, or we're stuck in the situation until we can figure out like the point that we're supposed to be getting from it, so that, you know, the situation can, the energy can shift and the circumstances can change. Because really what's happening in any given time in life, in this like kind of avatar of an illusion going on in the 3D, is that we're seeing this story play out in order to help us unfold and develop the inner story that's going on. And so what we're seeing in the outer world is actually only a reflection of what we have going on inside. So if we are, you know, having all kinds of like subconscious things that are affecting us, that are driving us, our motives, and we don't even know it, you know, it's like we want to get to know what those things are. So it's part of our process. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but we were just like talking about the caveats of like studying late at night. Haven't even gotten into the portion yet. And let's do that now. So tonight, I am going to be reading a portion called Take from Every House. Oh, I know, because what we were talking about a minute ago was playing into the subject of tonight, so I think I just got ahead of myself. Take from every house. The master said to the disciples, "Take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. But do not steal while in the Father's house and take something away." I'll read that again. Take from every house. The master said to the disciples, "Take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. But do not steal while in the Father's house and take something away." Now, a thought I just had come up while I was reading that a second time ties into tithing, I think. I mean, this isn't really where I was going with this passage, but I think that there is something to be said for that. It's like every house, take something from every house to give to the Father's house to contribute to the greater good, right? Everyone contributes. Everyone has a portion to share and to give, right? Because we're giving it, like, we're all one unified whole, right? So we're just taking from our pot and throwing it into the big pot. So take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. That can be, in the material sense, tithing, but do not steal while in the Father's house and take something away. And I mean, that's like when you are allotted your bread that you earn, right? Your paycheck. All of that, like the whole existence, it's given to us, right? Even the opportunity to go to work and make a check is an opportunity that's given to us to be here. And we are given a given amount of money in abundance because we are responsible for using that, at least 10% of that, to contribute to the greater good, or to help make the world a better place, right? Or to donate to charity, or to support a source of spiritual support, like church or an organization or whatever, what have you. And so if we don't give that, we don't allocate our abundance to sharing it, to paying it forward, then we're stealing that 10%, then we're taking it, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to tithe, like right now. So I haven't been, but I mean, I do on and off, but I haven't been, as strict as I need to be about it. Yeah, it's like, if you're asking for more abundance, then the great thing is that people who are super abundant and they tithe out of that, they have more to give. They can make a bigger impact, right? So think about that, when you're thinking about, when you're asking for the universe to send you more money, it's like, okay, they're going to give you your money, but are you going to be responsible for the part of it that you're supposed to share? Are you going to follow up with that? Are they going to be putting money, the universe going to be allocating resources into good hands, or is it going to be hoarded? Is this resource going to be taken from the whole? And so it's not that you can't have any of your own money. I mean, of course you can. That's the whole point of like having, like making a living. I mean, even in the Bible, like Jesus was against the triple taxing and all of that. So everyone gets their portion, but it's just that like the Father, the greater good, all of us, the Father's house gets a portion of that as well. In a non-material way, however, how I see this is the Master said to the disciples, take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. So when I think of the verbiage, the Father's house, right? I think of reality as a whole. And the houses within the Father's house, it's like us. It's our souls. When you dream about a house, in the dream, the house represents your soul. So it's like the Father's house is like the spirit of all existence. We are existing within the Father, right? And the Father is this animating spirit that exists within us. So reality as a whole is the Father's house. And there are multiple dimensions within that reality, which are, my Father's house has many mansions, right? Those mansions are different dimensions, right? And there's a macrocosm and a microcosm of the universe. And so within those dimensions, we experience those dimensions in the different levels of our consciousness, right? So I've got our chart. Take from every house. So this is the tree of life. We've looked at this before. And this is reality. This is a map of reality. It's a microcosm, or the macrocosm is like the universe, the multiverse, everything that exists in the physical material world, and then everything that exists beyond that, but that we as human beings and like human spirits can interact with. That is this. There are mysteries beyond even this, right? Up here, these three lines, these are the negative veils, or these are the veils of negative existence. So this is non-existence up here. And it goes, like, it starts off with like the void, and then it goes even further into like seas of nothingness, right? And like endless, in the endless nothing, the void, like absolute. So there's all these mysteries outside, right? But this is what we interact with. This is reality. This is also a map of the human soul. And all of these circles are the governing forces of reality. They're also called the Godhead. They're also called Sephiroth, and they're these dimensions of reality, but they're also different levels of consciousness. And these different energy spheres, they all have like a very specific energetic signature and thing and function that they serve, right? And so these are all going on inside of us at any given time. And each of us has a different balance of these characteristics. And it's up to us during our different lifetimes to try to correct and balance and bring these opposing forces into balance within us. That's our work. And as we do that, we ascend in consciousness. So, when it says, the master said to the disciples, take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. So, take something from every house means that we're on our journey here. This is the final level of manifestation coming from the top, crystallizing into physical form. So basically, energy, like pure energy, starts up here and it shoots into our realm. And as it goes through these different energy centers and filters, this energy becomes denser and more physical and more brought into focus and more defined, right? Less vague. It's very abstract up here, but as we come down here, these energies and these themes start getting very specific and very defined. So they get denser. It starts off as like pure energy that gets denser and denser and denser until it becomes physical matter, and it pushes through in this Big Bang moment down here, right? This is where the earth comes forward. Now, from here, our conscious ascension goes the other way. We spend our lives trying to move up the tree, while divine sends his radiance, or his, her, they, it, abstract, complete, non-anthropomorphic. God sends divine radiance down the tree, and we are trying to raise our consciousness as we rise up the tree to meet it. So, the master said to the disciples, take something from every house and bring it to my Father's house. Well, we are starting here, and I mean, our consciousness shifts. It's not linear, but as a whole, like over lifetimes, it's like we ascend these stations, right? So this is our human level of consciousness. This is the Christ level of consciousness. This is as far as we can get to and like hold on to our soul and spirit and have our personality intact. Once you start going up these levels, this is like ascended master level, right? And then once the ascended masters ascend, it's like they're absorbed back into the all, into the nothing, and they don't have a personality anymore at all. So through our lifetime and many lifetimes, we are traveling what is called the paths. And as we go through the paths, we are ascending and we are overcoming our demons, so to speak, and turning our like weaknesses into powers. And that's what these are. These are different powers, and they're states of consciousness and enlightenment. And so I think what it's saying is, yes, the assignment is to try to have some level of mastery in these different levels, right? Take something from all of these power centers, right? This is a complete picture of the human consciousness fully developed, the super consciousness, right? If we were online with all of these, like everybody's turned on here, we'd be in our fully integrated in our super consciousness, right? So take what you can from each of these powers, right? And use them to transmute darkness into light in this world. Use them to put more love and goodness and kindness into the planet. Use these powers to contribute to the greater good and to the greater whole, and to use it as a blessing that spills out, you know, that you can share with others. But don't take these powers and become corrupted and use them for your own gain, right? Don't take what's not yours. So we can manipulate energy with our will. And the more that we ascend through these levels and these dimensions of consciousness, the more power we do have. And the more that we know how the energetic and spiritual laws of the universe are laid out, then we can work a certain level of magic on our own. But we're not supposed to take what we're not in alignment with, what's not destined for us, right? Because it just causes chaos. So if you are praying really, really, really hard for something, it's like, yeah, heaven will respect your free will, and it might even help you get something that's not really on the docket for you. But it's not, if it's not really meant for you, if it was never portioned out and meant to be yours or had by you, then that thing will have brief fulfillment, but it will then cause problems and chaos. And so you want to pray that you're like, oh, I want to receive what is exactly meant for me. It's going to reveal the perfect amount of light. It's going to open up just the right opportunities and give me just the right amount of fulfillment without causing problems. Yay. I just want what is mine. I only want to date the people that are meant for me, right? And the people that are in my, you know, plan, divine plan to work through all of my soul tikkun lessons, that, you know, these people that I'm supposed to interact with. It's when we force something with someone where we're like, this, the red flags are there, we know they're not really for us, even on like the, just as a temporary, like, you know when it happens, and then it just becomes chaotic or it goes horribly wrong. A good example of, another example of taking something that's not yours is like having an affair or coveting, you know, someone else's partner or something, and that causes chaos. Even if you don't act on it, it can still cause chaos to come back to you. So, you know, you don't want anything that isn't yours. So you don't want to take from the Father's house, because there's already been more than you'll ever even be able to receive in this life has already been allotted to you. And it's been tailored and custom ordered for you to fit all of your preferences and needs. And some of it is going to irritate you because it's going to be that, have to be that evolutionary like push to be a catalyst to evolve. But for the most part, like, it's going to be the ultimate like experience, and, you know, it's going to be the ultimate experience for you, whatever the thing is that you're, you know, we're talking about here. So just trust that you're better off to only want what's really meant for you, and not try to force things that aren't meant for you. And because if you're receiving what is already meant for you, then you're not taking. But if you're trying to reach for something that's not really meant for you, then you are taking, right? Especially if you're using your these powers and your elevated consciousness to manipulate energy to get what you want, right? I mean, you can do it, like you're able to do it, but you shouldn't do it, right? That's stealing from the Father's house. That's going into the Father's house and taking from it, right? See, we're bringing, like, as we're traveling up towards the Father's up here. As we're going up these different sections, it's like we're bringing all of this with us. We're bringing like all of this wisdom and experience and love that we've transformed from our fears, right? We've transformed all this darkness. So we're bringing all of this value, all of this treasure with us, right? What we're not trying to do is take what we've gained from up here and take it away from the Father just so that we can have it in the material world, right? We're not looking for spiritual growth so we can have instant gratification and get everything that we want. You know, we are, but we're not, right? There's more to it than that. It's not just about what we can take. It's about what we're sharing, right? It's about how we're changing the world and how we're making the world a better place. We are stewards of the garden, right? We are stewards of the garden is our consciousness, but it's the consciousness that we have as a whole that's reflected in the world that we live in, right? When we fell from the consciousness of absolute unity with that super consciousness, that's when pain and suffering started to happen. That's when our outer world got more chaotic. You know, when people started to become more self-centered and selfish, that's when we started, like, you know, destroying the planet. Putting animals into extinction, murdering and raping each other. You know, it's like when we are in a unified state of consciousness, there isn't any competition. There's no threat. There's no fear, lack, or doubt, right? So what we are trying to do is use what we have gleaned and use it to radiate that light back into the world, right? It needs to be self-sustaining. But the way that the world is, the way that the ego has everyone set up, and this is our natural default setting, is to take. I want what's mine. I want my share. Am I not going to get any? Oh, I mean, like, tell people the buffet is open and like, watch people get out of my way, right? I want what's mine. So, yeah. Let's read this one more time. But I think that we've covered it. I think that we've gotten it. But yeah, take the wisdom, take the insight, take the revelation, take the healing, and use it to share that healing with others. Help others heal. Help others, come to share that wisdom with them so that they can have an easier life, so that they can use it for themselves as well. But don't just hoard, don't just sit on, your good blessings and wisdom and insight. I mean, it's not to say you have to go around preaching at everyone either. I mean, that's a violation. It's Bible beating. You have to, respect people's boundaries, and it's not even good to overshare if you're sharing to a person who can't hear you or doesn't have fertile ground to receive the seeds, so keep that in mind. There's always caveats in spirituality, isn't it? It's like, it's this way, except it's not. But it is, but it isn't. And you have to be like this, but just be totally opposite at the same time, and it can't bother you. That's what spirituality is. Take from every house. The master said to the disciples, take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. But do not steal while in the Father's house and take something away. So yeah, we're bringing, as we go through this life, it's like we evolve and we have all these lessons in these different areas, and we're bringing them with us. Everything that our soul learns, all the growth that we do, all the elevation we do, we keep with us lifetime after lifetime. We're always taking it back up to the Father. We're always becoming more self-realized for the sake of the Father. We are Source, having an experience of self through the hermeneutic lens of our unique individual experience. So everything that we do, we're taking back up to the Father, essentially, because everything that we're taking in, it's like we're just a host, like Westworld. And the program, the thing that like brings us online, that gives us our life, our consciousness, that's Source, right? So be a good host for Source and think about what you're bringing to the Father. Are you like setting a good table? Are you giving Divine a good place to be in your mind? Are you giving Divine a good place to be in your emotional realm? Are you giving Divine a good experience with this world, right? But don't just show up in this world with an attitude of like, what do you have to give to me? What can I take from any given situation? You know, it's what can I give? How can I share? How can I bring value to any given situation? That is how we bring and give to our Father's house and not take from the house, right? All right, you guys, that is that. Let us read this one more time. Take from every house. The Master said to the disciples, take something from every house and bring it to the Father's house. But do not still while in the Father's house and take something away. All right, you guys. Well, I hope that you have a good, I bet you're watching this on Sunday. I guess it's already technically Sunday. So have a good Sunday, and I'll see y'all tonight for our weekly energy forecast. Ciao.